Hi, I'm Effie Barker. We are right here in downtown Los Angeles. So when you say we're not going away with these issues, what are those issues?
I like to tell the stories of other people to inspire other people.
How do I introduce you? Girl, boy, di tiyak, o ano?
Hindi namin alam eh. Kahit kami naguguluhan kami. Pero isa lang ang alam ko, nagmamahalan kami.
I believe that there are a lot of good stories from ordinary people like you.
Bubs, I guess I'm speaking to you now. Don't worry about me. I love you. I miss you. There's not a single day that goes by where I don't think about you. I am grateful that I was selected to be your dad. Because you were the...
I wish you got substance. Hi! Hi, Dominic. You're so handsome.
It was just scary out of the get-go. He was born through an emergency C-section. The day after he was born, he had a stroke. And he coded. He was born on February 6th in 2016. It was Super Bowl Sunday. She thought I was gonna go to a Super Bowl party with my friend. I told her, I was like, nah, I'm gonna watch the Super Bowl with you right here. And we started watching the Super Bowl. They sang the national anthem, which we didn't pay attention to. She told me, she said, I don't feel comfortable watching the game unless we go see Dominic first. Because I don't think we saw him that day. I was going into the hallway to get a wheelchair for her, and it was like a Michael Myers movie. All the lights were dim in the hallways of the hospital we were in. The lights were flickering, and this nurse, she was just standing in the middle of the hallway, nobody around her, just standing there like if you were in a horror movie walking through an abandoned hospital, and she's just randomly standing there. She looks at me and she says, the NICU is currently having an emergency right now. We need you to stay in your room. You can't tell a father like me there's an emergency going on in the wing that your child is in, and just to go in the room and just
Stay there.
forget about it. Come on, man. So, I got her out the way. By the time I got to the door of the NICU, there was 6 police officers standing there for me. I laid my hands on the wall, and I just went into prayer and just started praying, and I was just praying. I remember me getting mad at God, and I started arguing with him, and I was telling him, I was like, you take my son away from me, I'm not doing Save Black Boys no more. I'm not doing anything positive in the community. I'm going to get money the way I want to get money. I'm not even going to try to be righteous. I was cool. My faith was gone. And
Do you believe in God?
oh, very much so. The situation was so spiritual. She squeezed my hand, and she was kind of hunched over, and she sat up really fast. And the first things out of her mouth were, Dominic is okay. And right when she said that, the nurse came bursting out of the door super dramatic, boom, hit the doors open, and she was like, okay, they got Dominic stabilized. He's on life support, and he was on ECMO life support, where what was happening was his lungs, he was born with pleural effusion, which is when the lungs are developing, he had fluid in his lungs. So it stunted the strength of his lungs, so they weren't working properly, which led to a stroke because he wasn't getting enough oxygen to his brain. The crazy thing is I didn't hold my son for the first 2 weeks that he was born at. She was the first one to hold him, and I felt that was only right, because she carried him. If you see pictures of him, he looked like a science project. He was swollen. His whole body was swollen. He was tiny, and he was hooked up to so many machines. He had wires coming out of him. And so I just felt like if I moved him wrong in any way, something would happen. And plus, the doctor said he couldn't be moved or disturbed while he was on that life support.
By the time that you first held him, talk to me about it.
Oh, man, the first time I held him, I said, hey, I'm your dad, and, you're going to have an interesting life with me. I'm going to play practical jokes on you a lot. Because of his condition, it was hard for his development was delayed. So, if he couldn't really focus on looking at you. Sometimes he'll catch eye contact with you, and as he got a little older, he started communicating in certain ways.
Were you still scared the first time?
Oh yeah, I wasn't moving. I was sitting down, and I was holding him, and Mama Bear was hawking over me like, don't move this way and that way, and I was, because he was still hooked up to all his cords and the machines, and I just held him, and I remember I just kept kissing him.
What was going through your mind?
This is my son. Like, I don't care what health issues he had. Like, you're my son. My kids will probably see this later on, but it's the truth. Me and his mom talk about this all the time. Dominic was my most beautiful baby. Dominic was, I wouldn't say he was the best baby, or if he was my favorite or not, because all of my children are my favorite. But he was my most beautiful baby. If you see that boy was so handsome. So handsome. Everybody who laid eyes on him just fell in love with him instantly. He was just the cutest baby in the world. I miss his little milk breath when I used to feed him, and he used to breathe, and he used to like to nibble on my nose, and I used to like smell his breath. And those moments, man, holding him for the first time was like a dream come true.
Does he know your voice?
Yes, he knew his mom's voice and my voice. He was sitting with Boogie. We call my older son Boogie, and he has his little brother sitting there with him. And then their mom comes in, and she was like, "Hey boys," and they both just looked at her like at the same time, like the same reaction. And
Does he make sound?
yeah, he wouldn't be like, he'll like do little baby noises, and he'll make like gargling noises and stuff like that. Nothing that would lead us to believe he was gonna sing. Bubs, I guess I'm speaking to you now. Don't worry about me. I love you. I miss you. There's not a single day that goes by where I don't think about you. You're forever in my heart. You're forever. You're me to the core, and I'm just thankful and grateful for the time that I got to spend with you.
I miss you, brother. I'll never forget you.
How you doing, son? You know we all miss you. I still got some love that I need to give you. The night that you left, I barely slept. And ever since that night, the pain never left. Now I'm swimming in the shallows of the battles of my heart. Afraid of the shadows in the shape of your heart. Emotional train is